Welcome to a tale from the front lines of failure, or rather a grandiose journey through horses, hubris, and humiliation. This is how not to conquer the world as Genghis Khan. I've been playing Ara History Untold for a good while now. Release 1.4 is out and things are largely great. But there are a few things that need attention and I expect a follow-up patch soon. But this video is not about the patch. Lately, my obsessive nature refuses to let me play as anyone besides Genghis Khan. Something about the potential ruthless efficiency, the possible nomadic might, and the sheer chaos he promises, it's kept me re-rolling starts and trying out different strategies. So today, and let me be clear here, this is not a game review. I want to tell the story of my many Genghis Khan rerolls. We'll talk game strategies, a few mechanics, some quirky things I noticed, and most importantly, my glorious and chaotic failure in every single game. All of these games were on Grand Duke difficulty, and most of my games start off pretty well. Usually, the starting region has at least 3 or 4 food tiles, enough to kick things off comfortably. The early turns are pretty much locked in by routine: build a scout or two, then a spearman, hunt predators, ward off any stray independent warbands. All the while, my eyes are on getting my first settler out as soon as I can. Make sure to max out a feast early on, usually ready by turn 2. It pretty much is the only boost to a city's growth that early in the game. And of course, exploration is key. You gotta scout the land, uncover stashes. But here's the thing that makes all the difference for me as Genghis Khan: finding horses. Without horses, Genghis Khan is crippled. Without horses, Genghis Khan is bullied for tribute. Bullied by Italy and Rome, go figure, by Russia, by Persia, and yeah, this happened, by Harriet Tubman. Now, to be honest, I don't think the AI cares if you have horses or not, but getting bullied as Genghis Khan is quite emasculating. In recent games, I've tried a strategy to rush Stonehenge. Try to build a strong military in 100 or close to 100 security cities seems to give me strong units. However, the opportunity cost of making a military feels imbalanced with all the other development things you gotta do to stay relevant. And even with a strong military, it's pretty much a coin toss as to how much success you will actually have. The most promising starts were where I had horses, a semi isolated spawn, and not more than 2 rivals on my borders in any direction. Access to resources is important, and I think you need just enough to keep your amenity, food, growth, production growing. So, before getting a military started, getting enough infrastructure to support 4 or 5 amenities is usually enough. Know that some amenities you might have taken for granted in the past may be active for fewer turns since this release. Now, to war, timing is everything. You build a unit stack too soon and you will not have sufficient infrastructure. Your cities will stall out. And if you do manage to conquer a city or two, you will not have the economy or the infrastructure to sustain you. If you build an army too late, you will get rushed by a neighbor, either with superior forces or sheer numbers. It's a balance I'm trying to figure my way around. A rival may be friendly with you, shower you with gifts, but declare war on you at the drop of a hat. Remember that even allies can change their mood over the course of a few turns if they don't like how you have responded to their requests. In games where I was forward settled by the AI, I rushed into war too soon. In isolated starts, I built my armies too late. In both situations, serious mistiming was on offer. Let me walk you through a few. In this game against Ethiopia, I thought I had an edge. I rushed in when I had 3 unit formations ready. I did manage to capture one of his cities, but Ethiopia had a much larger force in the wings. They counterattacked effectively, and at the end of the war, although I had a captured city to show for, my army was shattered. One of my cities was razed, and my economy was done. In this game, I was semi-isolated and had a very friendly Isabella to my south. I rushed Stonehenge and planned to invade as soon as I had 4 or 5 unit groups. I did that, but that amount of force was not enough to make any dent into Isabella. I think she had about twice the number of units I had, and they beat me back quite handily. Once again, I had ignored my economy and infrastructure, and after the war had failed, pretty much stagnated into oblivion. This one against Poland was, in my opinion, the worst of the lot. I had access to horses, but ran into a Poland who was too close, and I had just one expand put out. With just two cities and Stonehenge in place, I rushed into conflict too early. This defeat was by far the worst because beyond Stonehenge and the units I pumped out, I did nothing else. And then there was Harriet Tubman. In this game, I had Russia to my south, America to my north, both encroaching closer and closer to me. I built up a decent force and decided to go south first into Russia. Barely some turns in, Harriet Tubman declares war and bears down. I barely had enough force to fight on one front. Two fronts was out of the question. My economy and infrastructure was not bad here, but just that I was extremely overextended. The AI is smart and effectively opportunistic. It's definitely a welcome change in this release 1.4. And then there are these games where I think I waited too long to act. In this game, my start was very isolated, and I had a lot of land and time to build up a strong economy and industry. I even built a few wonders. The game basically turned into a peaceful game where everyone was a friend. After I had sprawled my empire out without an ounce of conquest, I realized I was quite far behind in science and prestige. Mongolia does not get any special abilities outside of war, and I felt that this was just a poor setup for Mongolia. Any other leader I might have persisted, but as Mongolia I decided to reroll. This was not a bad game per se, but it's just like it was a very un-Mongolia game, and that's not how I wanted to play. In this game, I was not so isolated from my neighbors, but had a lot of land behind me away from them that I could settle into. I think my mistake was not to lean into war and decide to sim along and build up the empire. This also quickly turned into a bore fest, and I fell behind on tech and prestige in good time. And then there was this near perfect start where my empire had everything and more. Everything except horses. I might have succeeded this game with a peaceful first strategy and then leaning into war, but I quickly realized that I'll be waiting until gunpowder for any aggression from my side. Basically, any future war was going to be without horses, and that was just something I didn't want to play. So my quest for success as Genghis Khan continues. Maybe I should try and take a break from Mongolia, try some other leaders, some different strategies, get better at some of the micromanagement, and then try him again. It would be really cool if I get my first Grand Duke win as Genghis Khan over all the others. Just feels right, I think. Still, there is no glory here, but plenty of lessons and rerolls. Until next time then, continue to enjoy Ara History Untold. May your horses be many, and maybe your hubris a little less. Thank you for watching, and definitely tune into the next one.